Today's video is all about the hamstrings. I'm going to show you my top 5 exercises for effectively targeting the hamstrings, and I'm also going to show you some common mistakes when performing them. I'm going to do all the exercises with a little twist. So you've probably seen the exercise before, at least I hope so, but the little twist, that is what is going to make the difference. So we're going to start right away, and I'm actually going to start with an isolation exercise. The reason why I'm doing that is because I wanted to show you, if you struggle with building that mind-muscle connection with your hamstrings, then you can do something that is called pre-exhaustion training, and that is basically when you start with an isolation exercise to target your hamstrings, in this case the stability ball leg curl, and then you're going to move in the compound exercise. This means that your compound exercise will be a little bit lighter because you already expended some energy with the isolation exercise, but you'll feel it more in your hamstrings. So I'm going to start with the isolation exercise, which is the stability ball leg curl. Okay, so with the stability ball leg curl, you want to make sure that you lay flat on the floor with your upper body. What I like to do is I like to make sure that the stability ball is very close to my glutes. I'm going to put my heels on the ball, and then I'm going to bridge up like so. And this is actually the top of the movement, and I already feel my hamstrings burning. And then you want to make sure that you keep your hips still, and you're going to slowly put your legs out and then curl them back in by squeezing your hamstrings. You want to make sure that you go really slow with this exercise to ensure that your hips stay still, because I don't want to do like this. That makes it much easier on the hamstrings, but that's not the goal. You want to make it hard.
I am chat with the boys. Nice keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. Don't tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Act like fire on a pan. If you want to touch my face, caution.
That's a really good one for your hamstrings. Okay, so after finishing about 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps with the stability ball leg curl, I'm moving on to the compound exercise, and the compound exercise that I'm doing is the Romanian deadlift. So with the Romanian deadlift, I keep my feet about shoulder width apart. I like having my hands slightly wider than my shoulders because that really helps me with making sure that I move as a unit, and I like to have a mixed grip. Alright, so what you want to make sure is that you load up the bar as you would do with a regular deadlift. Make sure that your chest is up, and then you go to the top of the movement. And then when you're here, make sure that you push your hips back and then lower the bar, keeping the bar very close to your chins. Lower the bar, keeping it very close to your shins. You want to make sure that you push your hips back, create a lot of tension on your hamstrings. I make sure that my knees stay slightly bent, and I keep the barbell very close to my legs. Keep my chest up and keep my spine neutral. Then when I'm about approximately here, I feel that if I go lower, that's the thing with the Romanian deadlift, you will hit a point where you will shift the tension away from your hamstrings to your lower back. I'm not sure if you can see it here. I push my hips back, keep my knees slightly bent, push my hips back, push my hips back. Now I cannot push my hips back any further. So if I go down lower, I'll shift the tension from my hamstrings to my lower back. And I don't want to do it, so I want to make sure that I stop right about here. That obviously depends on your flexibility.
Stop that. Stop that.
As you can see as well, whenever I'm at the top of the movement, I don't lock out fully, so I'm not standing up straight completely. I make sure that I keep tension on my hamstrings by keeping a slight forward lean. So this is basically my range of motion. What I did at the beginning of my fitness journey is whenever I was doing a deadlift, I used to look at myself in the mirror to check form. But if you're looking to the side, then your spine is like in a twist. Don't look to the side. Make sure that your spine stays neutral. If you want to check your form, make sure to film yourself.
I hear him chatting the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but man's keep walking.
Okay, so I've shown you an isolation exercise with body weight, and I've also shown you a compound exercise, the Romanian deadlift, and now I'm moving on to a unilateral exercise, which is a single leg exercise, and for that I'm going to do the single leg deadlift. You want to grab a dumbbell and hold it in the same hand as your working leg. With the unilateral exercise, always start with your weaker side first. That will help with preventing muscle imbalances because then you can match the work with your stronger leg. I am holding on to something for balance because I'm actually not trying to work on my balance right now. I'm just trying to target my hamstring. So same as with the Romanian, but then I'm just working with one leg, keeping the other leg out of the equation. I'm going to lower the dumbbell, keep it very, very close to my leg. And I really want to make sure that I feel that stretch in my hamstring. And then I'm keeping my other leg as straight as possible and in line with my upper body. And I try to not reset myself after every single rep. So I try to keep tension instead of putting my other leg on the floor. If that's not possible, then make sure to reset yourself after every single rep. With this exercise, you want to make sure that you go very, very slow to really feel that one hamstring doing its best, you know? What I found with this exercise in particular is that the type of shoe that you're wearing is really important. So make sure that you have either a flat sole or no shoes at all. Because I found that if I have a sole that goes like this, where the heel is lifted more off the floor, then you will get off balance really quick. Whereas with these shoes, they're a flat sole. I have a lot of grip, I have a lot of balance, and that makes this exercise easier. I'm throwing in another variation really quick. If you struggle with your balance, even if you're holding on to something, what you can do instead is make sure that you have a staggered stance. So basically, the toes of my non-working leg are in line with the heel of my working leg, and then it is quite similar. You'll have most of your weight on your working leg. Not all, but most. You can do the same by just using one dumbbell in the hand of your working leg and performing the exercise. This will give a little bit more balance.
I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in the cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace.
Next up is the machine leg curl. Now you have different variations. You have a laying one, a seated one, or a standing one. I'm doing the laying one today because I feel like that one is a little bit easier to mess up. So I want to show you a common mistake when it comes to the lying leg curl. I'm also doing it with a twist, as I said. The twist is key here. So the twist is actually that I'm performing 8 full reps, and then I'm going to perform 5 reps where I pulse 3 times. This will increase the time under tension, and for your hamstrings, you will feel it. So what you want to do is you want to lay down on the pad. Make sure that you create a lot of tension by holding on to the handles. You have to feel for yourself what feels best. It kind of depends on your length. I'm usually in between, so that always sucks, but it's fine. So you want to make sure that you grab them really tight, create a lot of tension in your upper body. And then one of the common mistakes that you will see is that if you perform this exercise too heavy, you'll create a space between your hips and the pad actually. If you have a space there, then that means that your tension shifts away from your hamstrings. So you want to make sure at all times that you press yourself, and especially your hip part, into the pad, and then you want to curl your legs up. This does make it way heavier, so make sure that you pick an appropriate weight so you can perform it with good form. So I'm creating tension in my upper body. I make sure that my hips are on the pad, and then I am curling my legs up. Go really slow when I'm lowering the weight. I'm going to do 8 full reps. And then I'm going to do 5 reps where I'll pulse 3 times at the top. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then I'm lowering the weight.
Yeah.
My hamstrings they're done for the week. Honestly, I feel like hamstrings, they don't get enough appreciation, you know? I feel like we appreciate the glutes, we appreciate the abs, we appreciate the quads, but no one is talking about hamstrings. So let's make hamstrings what we focus on in 2022. All right, so the final exercise that I'm going to show you today requires a little bit of setting up, but it is absolutely worth it. So I'm at the Smith machine. I make sure that I use a Smith machine that has a straight bar path. I found that makes it a little bit easier. First things first, make sure that you have your safety pins on lock. I set it so that the bar is approximately at the same height as my bench, preferably a little bit higher so I can get my feet underneath, but you'll see that in a second. Another essential thing is I have a little band here, putting this one around the barbell from the Smith machine. And then what I'm doing is I'm twisting it and I am putting it around the locks of the Smith machine so that when I'm performing the exercise, it prevents it from locking itself. I've had that happen before. That's not nice when you're doing an exercise. So I'm looping it around so that there is tension. Then what you want to do is you want to lay face down on the bench by keeping your hips off of the bench so you have room to actually move your legs. Same as with the lying leg curl, make sure that you create tension in your upper body. And then I have my hips off of the bench and I'm going to put my heels underneath the bar of the Smith machine, and then I'm going to perform a reverse frog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my legs up by squeezing my hamstrings like this, and then I'm slowly lowering it and then pushing up again.
Stop that. Yeah. I hear them chatting the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear them chat with the boys, man's so tough, but man's keep walking. Just too sharp.
Okay, so I'm going to add another bonus exercise because I feel like I'm on a roll. If you have time, then make sure to do this one as a superset with the next exercise that I want to show really quick. So the reason why I like supersetting these two exercises is because they follow a similar movement pattern, but then kind of reverse. So with that exercise, I am moving my legs while bending at my hips, and with this exercise I'm moving my upper body while bending at my hips. And I don't want to perform this one targeting my lower back. I really want to make sure that I target my hamstrings, and I do that by kind of keeping a slight bend in my upper body so that I shift the focus to my hamstrings and I focus on squeezing them to initiate the movement. If I want to target my lower back instead, then I would keep my upper body as straight as possible and focus on squeezing my lower back. But when I'm targeting my hamstrings, I want to make sure that I squeeze my hamstrings and I keep a slight bend in my upper body. If you want to perform this while holding weight, you can do so either by keeping your arms straight, but I found that this limits my range of motion a bit, so you can also hold the plate on your chest and then perform the exercise this way. And as I said, I love supersetting this one with the reverse frog in the Smith machine. And then what I would usually do is I keep the Smith machine one a little bit heavier, a little bit lower reps, and then I would max out on this one afterwards while keeping the rest between these exercises at a minimum. Okay guys, that was it for today's video. My top 5, 6, maybe even 7 exercises for targeting the hamstrings and the common mistakes that people tend to make, but that you shouldn't make if you really want to efficiently and effectively target your hamstrings. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, maybe even leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.